there's no doubt that we're a nation in crisis, and something has to be done to get us out of this crisis. And that's why we're bringing all forms of expertise and experience to the fore to help us, dissect the issues and see the way forward. Government cannot do it alone, and if there was any doubts to that effect, right now is very clear. And that's why all hands have to be on deck. But the most important part is that the government did not have to be very honest with the people. Sometimes we feel government is not very honest. And that ego has to fall off the cliff so that all of us can come together and solve this national crisis we're dealing with. So we're bringing in three sets of gentlemen who have expertise in different areas. First is a professor of cybersecurity and information technology management, the first Nigerian, I understand, to have that. Professor Emmanuel Ojo Ademola joins us virtually from the UK. Prof, thank you so much for coming on the program.
Thank you for having me.
We also have Commodore Promise Dapa. He's a retired naval officer joining us from Port Harcourt, the River State capital. And we also have, thank you, Commodore.
Thank you for having me.
And we have with us Harrison Gwanushi. He's a right activist who takes on a very dangerous responsibility of getting to the bush, and he's been hands-on. Harrison, thank you so much for coming on the program.
Thank you. Good morning.
Let me start with Prof. Prof, I know you've done some write-up on some of the dailies, and we've seen the decisions of the president, his recent, will I call it state of emergency now? I want to use the right word, because state of emergency will require him going to the National Assembly to do the right thing. So I'm not sure how this plays out in law. But just beyond that is some of the decisions that have been made, more boots on the ground, and to open grazing, appeal for collaboration between communities and all of that. There are so many layers. The producer will be displaying it as we continue this conversation. But you've written a couple of things about national security. So let's start with you, Prof. What is going on, and what do you make of the president's statement? Is it convincing enough that this is going to affect any meaningful change, whether in the short or long term?
Okay, thank you very much for having me. Even before the emergence of this government, we have been challenged as a country with different level of insecurity. And I'm fully aware, as all Nigerians, that the current president is well informed. He knows how to go about it. I'm sure he has the blueprint. For example, over 2 years ago, shortly when this government came in, I wrote an article on forest ranger and drones rangers. So they have copy of all these things. So now, if they are indeed, I know he's a man who, the political will is there. The political will is there. And the moment the political will is there, some of these issues should be declared. I can hear what the lawyer said recently, that list, my friend. Some of these things are not in law. Banditry is not in law, but terrorism is there. Criminality is crime. Yes. So the government have the willingness, political willingness. I'm sure of that. Although there could be some gaps that needs to be filled around the executive arms. But the government can declare, now we have emergency, isn't it? And government can have executive orders in order to implement what I've been suggesting for the past 2 years. So my recent contribution about the tripod model is not a theory at all. It has been verified, the very verifiable model, which has worked in similar situation, even escalating situation. What the government just need to do, as a government who has the political willingness, politically willing to do it, yeah, the government has done it in the area of taking subsidy away, unifying the currency, You just need similar political will. You have declared emergency, good move. Come up with executive order and implement this thing as a matter of urgency. Then we go from there. It's practically doable. It's not a theory in any way. Thank you very much, my friend.
Commodore, let me come to you. One of the things we hear, and it's a sorry story most of the time, and sometimes, of course, most of the time is dismissed by the hierarchy of the military or the DHQ. We've heard complaints over and over. I know you're a naval officer, but is within your ecosystem as far as national security is concerned. One of the things I have heard over and over again, in fact, there was a recent video where we hear communities say, we know they are coming, and then we're being attacked, and we reach out to the military, they are not reacting. Or sometimes we notify them, or they see these people passing, and they are not doing anything. In fact, the recent one I heard was that the community said they were attacked, so they, more like reprisal, attacking the bandits or whoever they are, and then the military, according to them, came, and then there was a shooting spree. Some of their people died. So their argument is to the fact that they are a bit empathetic. Some of these guys are empathetic to these outlaws. That is the allegation against some of our military men. Do you have any idea of some of these things that have been said? Do you have any knowledge of it? And what's your interpretation of the president's decision to have more boots on the ground?
Okay, thank you very much for having me. Let me start with the last question, the president's decision. The current state of emergency is a good thing, but I think it's not far-reaching enough, because the threat we face in Nigeria today is an existential threat. Our existence as a nation is threatened, and this is not time for rendering platitudes or tokenisms. So what the president's decision, to me, I feel is a tokenism. It's not far-reaching enough. We need to do hard things. Like the last speaker said, this president is noted for taking strong decisions, and this is the time to take strong decisions on issues of national security. We need to go beyond the number of people. The president doesn't need a state of emergency to recruit more people into the armed forces or to create state police. Now, what a state of emergency means is that it enables you to suspend without the normal legislative framework and all those sort of things, to be able to move forward from some area to critical area that's an emergency. So what we are dealing with here is issue of capability. The security agencies lack the capability age to be able to secure this country, and I'm saying this on good order. If anybody wants to challenge this, I will take him on one-on-one debate on that. The balance of power is not in our favor. So if you put a man, I have a GPMG gun, and the person coming to assault me has a GPMG gun, then what's my capability age over him? It's a matter of shoot me, I shoot you. Then the person have more numbers than me. So how do you start fighting the person? Just like we talk about schools, the recent incident in Kebbi now. I don't know the number of people that are there. Assuming you have 5 or 10, and you have 100 people coming to assault with the same AK rifle that you are carrying. It will be suicidal for you to remain there and wait for them to come and slaughter you. I'm not trying to justify the reason why they left there or not. But the point I'm making that the government will have to look objectively into the issue of capability. And a state of emergency should be a period where we should do a critical analysis. We should ask ourselves, what is our critical vulnerability in this country? What is it that the enemies are exploiting? To be able to move freely, assault people, take over whichever area they want to take over, pick whoever they want to pick and disappear. What are those vulnerabilities? Then what are the critical requirements that we need to confront this thing, to protect this country? Those questions need to be asked. It needs to be in the public domain. It's something that we need to have a national discourse about. How do we want to secure this country? What is the philosophy? What is the strategy? What do we need? The equipment, and how do we raise the fund? What collaborations do we need? We need to ask those questions. If you are not asking those questions, then we are not really ready. You can't pick the issues in isolation. You can't treat them in silos. So we need to have this holistic kind of discussion then we begin to know where to move from, because you put more boots on the ground. Now we are talking of recruiting 20,000, 50,000 personnel. If you calculate even the cost of arming each of them with one AK rifle, it runs into money. Where is the money? Where are the other logistic requirements?
Commodore,
you get the people and you don't get the means to move them to the area of the threat. Then what have you done?
Commodore, you have made very compelling points this morning about the need to have a national conversation on how exactly Nigeria should be secured. But indeed, you know, when are we going to move beyond rhetoric? I think that is even a more compelling question. Let's expand the conversation now as I take it to Harrison Gwamnishu, who is often in the trenches, a human rights activist who also works with security agents to help rescue kidnapped victims. Thank you for holding on, Harrison.
Yeah, thank you.
Two things. I'm spoiled for choice about, you know, what points to explore with you. But two things first. Reverend Achi and wife, whom you posted on your socials recently, there are disturbing reports about the current state of one of the couple. I'd like you to provide an update, either a confirmation or an exact situation report on the state of this couple, kidnapped in Kaduna State, to be precise. And then the second would be this. Did the Daily Trust surrendering of you know, the rescue of the government girls, secondary school girls in Kebbi State is, you know, compels for thoughts: rescued, ransomed, or released? And you put something out similar as well. So what's your interpretation? How should Nigerians be viewing this return of the girls? Were they ransomed, were they rescued, or were they released?
All right, thank you very much. On the reverend that was kidnapped with the wife, as at 2 days ago, they were demanding for 100 million naira from the reverend and the wife, and which the family, you know, they were kidnapped on the 28th of October in Kaduna, so which the family could not raise the said amount that the kidnappers were demanding from the family. All right, then they made a video, they made a picture of the reverend and other victims, which they posted on the reverend WhatsApp status, you know, his WhatsApp status where it was posted. So that's what they posted was for confirmation that we are still with him and other people, and if this ransom is not paid, that they are going to, you know, kill them. All right. For now, I've not confirmed fully if the reverend has been killed, but I'm hearing reports on the social media space that reverend has been killed. Pictures of him flying. For now, I have not confirmed from the family who contacted me, you know, to assist them to escalate the, you know, the matter. All right, because same WhatsApp that they posted the picture of him with the wife sitting down, they've not posted the dead body on the WhatsApp status. So I don't know where they got that information from. Maybe the kidnappers told them that they've killed. Sometimes they threaten with that to enable the family raise money for the other woman, that's for the wife. All right, for now, there is no clear confirmation that the reverend has been killed. There is none. There is none. Another one again, I raised an issue, you know, release, rescue, you know, they are two different things. When they come in to tell you that they have released, sometimes, you know, the kidnappers were not attacked. You know, the ransom, something exchange hand, and they release, you know, they release the victim. Sometimes they say rescued. Rescued may involve attacks. You know, when they start shooting, the kidnappers start running away, and possibly they run. They will leave the victims behind, and the security agency can go down around, you know, pick up the victims. But in this Kwara issue, 38 victims kidnapped. None of them have told us that they were attacked in the camp or anything. They said they just came out and said you people should go, and they went somewhere and they picked them in the buses. The DSS picked them in their buses and they took them to the government house. So there's no report of them attacking anybody, attacking the terrorists, because they are more than 30. So they're not just kidnappers, they are terrorists who invaded Kwara State. All right. So there is no report of the security agencies, you know, attacking them. I was in Kwara and the community were raising funds They were raising funds. The kidnappers, they told them 20 million naira per each person, and they were raising funds. I left Kwara on Sunday morning, and in the afternoon, those persons, the 38 persons, were released freely. So what it means is that the government are in touch with these people, who are kidnapping these the victims. And let's not forget that persons were killed in the church. 38 people were kidnapped, including children were kidnapped. So it's like we are romancing with these kidnappers. Like when they kidnap, we negotiate with them, money exchange hand, and they release them. They still go back again. They have more money to acquire more arms that they are going to use again for the next community. It continues. Like what the former the professor was saying. They have equipment that can be used for all these things, which we have already experimented on several times in Delta. In Delta today, you have not heard about any attack in Delta today. It's because some equipment was used to track these kidnappers who uses our forest as a hideout. So,
very worrying, and I would have loved to follow up with you on that one. But let me take this follow up to the prof. The question is, why is it difficult for the federal government, to take on frontally the kidnappers, the terrorists, the abductors? When you listen to, the presidential aide who was speaking on the release of the girls, he spoke about, that would be Mr. Bayo Nonuga, he spoke about how these abductors use human shields. But we've heard this time and again, even under the past administration. The question is this excuse tenable?
Thank you, Wemimo. As I've been saying, we have sufficient analytical resort outside there. As Harrison just said, has been verified, usable in Delta State and some other state for that matter. The issue of the questions, this tenable or whatever, you still have to call up politicians to be accountable. And that's why in my opening statement, I said, Mr. President, as a person we all knew, we flaunted, we wrote a lot about him, is a man of strong political will. And if you come with such a strong political will, issue of insecurity shouldn't be a strange challenge. Because the way it's happening now, as if it's a strange issue. It's not strange. Mr. President knew that. He continued to know that. And that's why I'm saying that, listen, ask our politician questions. Ask them street questions. Even before they are voted in, let them give you their blueprint about their understanding about curbing insecurity. So we have moved away. That's my argument that, listen, it's no longer an issue of discussing why are we here. It's issue of, listen, implement what has worked. You have the political will. It requires, it requires more than, curbing this problem requires more than bullets and barricades. It demands holistic tripod model that I've put there. Point one, look at the security architecture. The Navy officer just said, the retired Navy officer just said that the capacity is not there. Yes, if I want to take that, I want to say that we need to optimize the architecture. We need to strengthen coordination, you see, and among our armed forces, police, civil defense, ensure accountability and rapid response. In today's security architecture, the lawyer just said to us here that even in court, there's no use of forensic information. And politicians, they have used forensic data to win election in court. Yes, I remember some few years ago, I was involved in doing forensic analysis of a situation, and they won the election. It was presented in court. But when it comes to security, they have not been able to present forensic evidence. I challenged Khan about this some few months ago that, listen, come up, buy your own drones, collect technology-driven evidence instead of all these rhetorics. How much does it take when some pastors are already buying jets and boasting all about that they have 2 new jets, and you cannot buy a drone and position that drone to gather information? So what am I saying? Point 1 on my tripod model is this: security architecture. Security cannot remain fragmented. It has to be coordinated, well coordinated, so that the issue that happened in Kebbi wouldn't be happening. If A does not see it coming, B will see it. If B couldn't see it, 1 or 2, 3 will see it. It must be integrated and proactive. The point B, I want to quickly rush on that, is this issue of poverty, unemployment, inequality. We are not linking our security solution to socio-economic empowerment. We must begin to do that. As a country, poverty, unemployment, inequality are the silent drivers. They are the bedrock, silent driver of insecurity. If we invest adequately in education, skill, and entrepreneurship, we cut off the oxygen that fuel crime and extremism. Security without socio-economic intervention, justice, is a bandage, please, on a festive wound. If somebody has a festive wound, you just put bandage. That's what we are doing, and we have to stop that. We must adequately, strategically link the solution. We should be talking about solution now, not how we got here. The question you asked,
bring in the Commodore because of time. My apologies, Prof. Yes, let me bring in the Commodore because of time. My apologies. Your tripod suggestion or proposal is quite apt. Commodore, the question I have, and Prof is big on information technology and cybersecurity, that's his expertise, it's one of his strong expertise, is that Nigerians are confused sometimes where, and it's almost unbelievable that people will come and abduct 20, 30, so look at the one in Niger, over 200 or so, or 300 people, and including primary school children, and move them. And the Nigerian state will say they don't know. You know what it means to move 200 people one time with all the technology we have? So my question is, if anybody insults the president or insults anyone in power right now, before you know, maybe the DSS will find you. Now, terrorists are content creators. Somebody was even making fun of it that they're even doing giveaway. And yet, we don't know what to do. Is that even tenable, Commodore?
Yes, thank you very much. And this is one of the issues when I talk about issue of capability. The starting point in securing a country is the issue of surveillance. The entire country has to be wired up. You must be able to see a pin drop anywhere in the nation. If you have not come to that, then you have not started. Your borders must to be firmly secured, partly walled, partly fenced. If you can't guarantee the security of your territory, then you can't be talking of security. And that's why I beg to differ a little from the prof. I'm in the school of security. I belong to the realist school of thought. I don't believe in all this talk of non-kinetic and bring food, bread and butter security. It is since those things crept into our security nomenclature that things government started paying less attention to issue of security. Security starts with the security of the country, the security of the country, the security of the people. You don't secure your borders, take care of your borders, manage how things move across the borders, then your country can be secured. Today, 80% of the small arms and light weapons in West Africa domicile in Nigeria. How did they get in there? If people don't have access to weapons, how can they cause insecurity? So the issue of border is key. And that's why I expect in this state of emergency, the president should stop all legacy projects and move the fund as a matter of urgency to the border. We must secure our borders. We must wall our borders. Countries are walling and fencing 17,000 kilometers of border. Nigerian land border is only 4,100 kilometers. It's something we can do in a very short time. The money for the legacy road can fence this country. The day you wall and fence this country, insurgency dies. I can tell you that. It has happened in other countries. We saw in Israel during the second Intifada, there were Sudan bombers were crossing from Palestine to Tel Aviv, throwing bombs. The moment they wall the area, that issue ceases. 2,700 kilometers of border area in Morocco is walled and partly fenced. India has done 4,200 kilometers with Bangladesh, 3,700 kilometers with Pakistan, the whole world fenced. That is how to secure a country. As large as India is, how many times do you hear cross-border infiltrations, kidnappings, and all those things? You don't hear them. It cannot happen. They are fenced, they are walled, lighted with camera, surveillance system, with road to enable quick response. That's what we are taking. Then you must have, when I was in service at the Defense Headquarters, I've advocated, there are surveillance facilities that can enable you cover 1,000 kilometers of landmass. You will see, pin drop, those facilities are there. And when once you can see where bandits and criminals are coming from, then you have already demoralized them. That's why when you go to public institution, they warn you that CCTV camera is there. So once you know somebody is watching you, you don't have the audacity to commit any crime there. Nigeria must be watched from the heaven, from the sky, from the land, from the sea, from everywhere. Nigeria must have eyes watching everywhere. And because nobody is watching, that's why even military formations, they don't have eyes. That's why terrorists can gather and mass themselves from distant places, walk in slow march and come and assault military units and get away. So these things must be in place. These are the starting point for security. If you don't begin to put in place a proper surveillance system and quick response capability, those are the starting points. If you don't have those things, forget about securities. And that brings also to the state. As a policy, every state must be wired up, the state capital, local government areas. And anywhere they're having problems must be wired up. People must see. When you see the enemies, then you already know how to respond to them. It's not about blaming somebody, security, you call army didn't respond. If I am the commander, I am seated in my house, and I'm seeing my unit, you call him, and the commander there knows that I'm seeing him and watching him. There's no reason why he will not respond. And if he has been equipped to respond to those issues, he has to respond. And because nobody is seeing anybody, nobody is seeing the enemy is not seeing any, the commander is not seeing the enemy, and the grand commander at the base is not seeing the commander in the unit. Everybody does whatever he likes. So that is the point I'm trying to make here. Issue of national surveillance is a critical national requirement to address the issue of security in this country. Then quick response capability is key. Our border, that's a matter of priority. The president has to abandon every luxury product, legacy project he's doing and move money to the borders. And that's where I come to the issue of capabilities. You need fast-moving aircraft. You need facilities to be able to respond to this issue. The balance of power must be on the side of the security agencies. So that when they face the enemy with superior power. They have what we call capability age. For now, there is no capability age. There is no technology.
Indeed,
so,
Commodore.
That is why we continue to do things the way we have been doing. We have been doing the same thing for the past 15 years. They have not led us anywhere. Indeed,
Commodore, your proposals are quite compelling, and we hope that those who should, act are listening, even as you speak, about building border walls around 2,700 kilometers of Nigeria's borders. And this reminds me of the president's order of total security cordon on Kwara forests following the kidnap of 35 worshippers and the killing of some of them. I'm wondering, what was the governor doing? What is the responsibility of the subnationals in terms of securing their own borders with other states? How did over 200 people were kidnapped from a Catholic school in Niger State, and they were moved across states, and the security agencies are helpless? These are questions that we'll continue to ask. But I want to take this next one to Harrison now. And Harrison, there's a theory that is emerging that cannot be ignored when you consider the recent security upsets that we've experienced in the past couple of weeks in Ohimini. We had a witness who said they got intelligence that, the attackers were coming, and prior to that time, there was a garrison that was stationed. But just before the attackers came, the troops withdrew. In the killing of Colonel Uba, Brigadier Colonel Uba, we also gathered that when intelligence about his location was revealed through WhatsApp, not long after that, he was captured. And we can mention the, intelligence that the governor of Kebbi State spoke about prior to the kidnap of the girls in Magugu local government, and, there was failure to act upon it. We had, somebody support that particular bit of information as well. How are you weighing in on this particular theory, and what makes the armed forces susceptible to moles being in the forces such that, there's failure of intelligence or there is complicity that cannot be ignored?
Well, for me, I think one of the speakers have said something here, and some of these terrorists, they are having higher weapons. For me, personally, if I see someone carrying a higher weapon more than me, there's no way I'm going to withstand that. It's like vigilante using a pump action rifle to engage someone with AK-47. It's not possible. All right. So yes, there are moles within the military, within the police, and within the armed forces. But that comes again. What are the welfare of these officers too? What are their welfare? They see their colleagues being killed and buried with no benefits, with nothing. So who is ready to fight for the country? Who is ready to come out and say, I want to fight for my country? What's the person's benefit? So when the terrorist comes to offer you a higher money, some of them will decide to leave whatever oath they took, oath of allegiance and the rest of them. So, because they know that if anything happened, the government they're going to abandon me and a lot of them. There are a lot of them in the hospitals who have been abandoned by the government. So imagine a serving personnel seeing his colleague lying helpless on the bed with no leg and no hand, being treated in a hospital that has no equipment. What's the fate of that personnel? What should be his mindset? So these are the things. So none of them are willing to die for the country because the country is not giving them the deserving benefit, the deserving benefits. That's the reality on ground. So when it comes to that capacity, yes, welfare is very, very important. That officers who are standing for us, defending this country, must be well equipped and must be well, given a whole lot.
Okay.
Like here in Delta, there are a lot of officers who will go with us in the forest. And when we get to the forest, they will turn back and say, I know they go, I get children for us. So imagine that kind of situation where you see an officer telling you that he has children at home, he has a wife at home, and you going with him will just, your mind will just, you decide not to go again because people who are carrying arms with you are telling you that they cannot go into this place. This place is dangerous. They can't go in because they are not well equipped. So for me, I'm not always talking about the problems. It's the solution. How do we solve these problems? There are equipment that the government can purchase. They are not expensive. That can prevent these crimes from happening. If they are coming from the south, somebody from the east can even view them and say there are people coming. Before they get to the community, they are going to be waged. The equipment is not like it's a spirit or a ghost. This is the equipment that's already on ground that government can purchase. Give it to local government, set up a team in each local government, and give to them to monitor these places.
All right, Harrison, yes. But my apologies, your passion comes through. And to be very honest, I think we know what to do. Why we're not doing it is just mind-boggling. But I must thank all of you gentlemen we're pressed for time. But I must thank you for bringing in your expertise. Harrison Gwamushi is a right activist, taking the risk all the time to be in the field. Commodore Promise Dapa is a retired naval officer. And Professor Ademola Ojo Emmanuel is a professor of cybersecurity and IT management. Gentlemen, thank you for coming on the program. We appreciate you all. Thank you, sirs.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much.
We'll take a break. We'll be back and we'll talk about transforming society through education. and using technology. Join us in just a moment.